Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is part 3 of our paint series with SATA. Again, I don't have a paint booth, so we're underneath my 10x10 tent. I've been waiting for several days to get just the right weather outside to be able to spray in this first step here, the epoxy primer on the tank and rear fender for FXR71. It's 73 degrees outside. There is absolutely no wind whatsoever, and the humidity is relatively low from what it normally is down here in the south. So I have already mixed up my epoxy primer. It is a 4-to-1 direct to metal, of course, and then I have my SATA 100 ready to go. I've got my compressor set down to about 45 psi. That puts me at 30 psi at the gun, and then I dial it in just a little bit, as I showed in the last video, to get me down to 28 psi. I'm going to start with an initial tack coat on it, which should only take a couple of minutes to dry, enough to move on, flash over, so move on to the next step. And then we're going to do 2 coats with about 10 minutes in between. I'm going to give it a touch and see how it does, and then we'll go from there. I also chose white for my epoxy primer, as one of the final primary colors of the bike is going to be a white pearl. So I thought that'd be a little easier through my primer stages to tone all the layers underneath. Of course, I'm going to do a test spray pattern. I've already done that, showed you that in the second video, and we're going to run the gun pretty much wide open at 28 psi, and wiped everything down 2 or 3 times with wax and grease remover, of course. So let's get started. I'm going to show you close up when we get done. I can't believe how smooth it is, despite my very sloppy spray pattern. I've got a lot of practice I got a lot of practice to do. So I can't believe how smooth it is. It looks like a lot of pictures and stuff that I see from like a base coat gun, really. Yeah, there's almost no texture to it at all. I'm going to lay this coat a little thicker for my final coat. I think I'll be a little more mindful of my spray distance, and also I think I'm going to slow down just a little bit and see how much I can get on there. All right, I can tell right now the swinging thing is obviously a nuisance. You can't maintain a consistent spray distance. I can't believe it, to be completely honest. I told you guys I'm not a painter. It's kind of sloppy, right, with how I've got this set up. I'm gonna have to use stands or something and next time I paint as I move forward in the stages. One of the little tricks the guy showed me for the gun, you're gonna have paint inside here. It's kind of cool. Squeeze the bottle, close the vent on the bottom, turn it upside down, pull the trigger. Sucks all the paint back through the gun so that when you pull it off, there's no paint to drip out. It's pretty cool. Now to clean this thing, a couple of recommendations that Tony made there. Don't want to bathe this in thinner. So what he recommended was leave the gun like this, fill this cavity up a couple of times, and just let this come out. Because if you turn it upside down, then it can fill in all the air holes that are in there and all that type of stuff. So he advised to do this. Now we can remove our air cap. Since I'm not going to use this gun for a while, it's going to be a few weeks before I can get to the frame. So we would, after cleaning all of this up again, wiping it down really good, they have a grease that's good to use on the gun when you store it. So that little bit of grease goes right here on the needle, this area right here. They also recommend putting a little bit on the threads here for the air cap. Also on the fluid adjuster, a little bit on the threads right there. And then give it a good wipe down, and it's good to go next time you're ready to spray. I got to tell you guys, I'm absolutely blown away with the results. I mean, as Tony told me, he said if you're laying it down right, it should, with that gun, you should be able to pull off a finish that has, with an epoxy primer, that has almost a sheen to it, kind of like a base coat. And that's exactly what I see. There's virtually no texture to it whatsoever. I know I'm going to have to do very, very minimal scuffing when I move to the next primer sealer stage or start doing any body work and such, and guide coating and that sort of thing. I'm blown away. One of the reasons you pro painters may be laughing at me, but the reality is I couldn't be spraying really in worse conditions. There's no trash, there's no runs, and I've wanted to be able to do this for a very long time. And I mean, again, I'm not a painter, right? I don't do this stuff every day. I don't have the chance to practice the craft, all right? But over the years that I've tried to paint stuff, you know, I just had cheap spray guns, stuff that, you know, as a kid, I grew up with, you know, the paint don't care what you shoot it through. I can't agree with that anymore. I mean, I've tried spraying like this in similar conditions before, with just, you know, cheap guns and things, and never got these kind of results. And I always got so frustrated, and so I would just, to a large degree, I quit. I had no idea how much of a difference a good spray gun would make, you know, swinging around, all this kind of stuff. And despite all those challenges, I'm just absolutely blown away. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. And on the next video, we're going to sit down with Tony again. We're going to talk about all this. My errors will be obvious again, and with things swinging around all over the place, I need to come up with a better system from that. I'll probably make some racks. But Tony will come back, and then for the next phase, we'll move into scuffing, and then we'll get into, you know, guide coating and that sort of thing. And then we'll move on to our base coats and keep on trucking. So I hope you're enjoying the series. If you don't mind, subscribe if you think I've earned it. Hit the thumbs up. Join me on this journey, and hit the little notification bell there, so you'll see next time I upload a video in this paint series. There's also a playlist for it. And I'm learning how to paint, guys, and I'm just blown away. Thanks a million, SATA. Thanks a million, Tony, for all your help and advice. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good one.